I grew up in a quiet suburb of Dallas, Texas, where everyone knew each other, and neighbors often felt more like extended family than strangers living next door. My name is Emily Carter, and I never imagined that one ordinary afternoon would completely change the way I saw myself, love, and the people closest to me. Across the street lived the Miller family, Rachel Miller, her husband David Miller, and their little daughter, Chloe. Rachel was warm and kind, always bringing over fresh pies during the holidays or offering to water my plants when I was away. David, on the other hand, was quieter, reserved, with a serious expression that rarely broke into a smile. To me, Rachel and David seemed like the perfect couple. Their house was well kept, Rachel always looked cheerful, and Chloe was the kind of little girl who made everyone laugh with her silly jokes. But, as I would soon learn, appearances are not always what they seem. The afternoon that changed everything. It was a warm Saturday in June. I had just finished grocery shopping when Rachel called out from her porch, waving enthusiastically. "Emily, do you have a moment? Can you come over?" she asked. I set my bags down inside my home and quickly crossed the street. When I stepped into their living room, I noticed boxes stacked near the wall. "We're planning to redecorate Chloe's room," Rachel explained with excitement. "But I've got to run out to the store to get a few things. Do you mind staying here for a bit? Just to keep an eye on Chloe until I'm back." I agreed immediately. Chloe adored me, and I loved spending time with her. Rachel hugged me gratefully before leaving, calling out to David upstairs that she'd be back soon. Meeting David. Chloe was busy coloring in her books, so I sat on the couch flipping through a magazine. A few minutes later, David came down the stairs. "Hey, Emily," he said politely. "Rachel asked you to watch Chloe." "Yes," I replied, smiling. "She said she'd be quick." David nodded and walked into the kitchen. For the next hour, Chloe and I laughed, played, and she even showed me her latest school project. Eventually, she grew tired and went upstairs to nap. That's when David returned and asked quietly, "Emily, can I talk to you for a moment, in my study?" I hesitated for a second. His tone wasn't harsh, more like he had something personal to say. Out of respect, I followed him. The confession. His study was a simple room. Bookshelves lined the walls, a desk sat in the corner, and the blinds let in soft afternoon light. David motioned for me to sit, and after a moment of silence, he finally spoke. "Emily, I know this might sound strange, but I don't have anyone else I can talk to. Rachel, she's amazing, but lately, I feel like we're growing apart." I was stunned. The perfect couple I had admired was, in reality, struggling. He continued, "I don't want to burden Rachel with my feelings. She's so busy with Chloe and her job. I feel invisible sometimes. And when I see how close you and Rachel are, I feel like maybe you'd understand." My heart sank. I hadn't expected this. "David," I said softly, "I appreciate your honesty, but you and Rachel love each other. Every couple goes through hard times. Maybe you just need to communicate more." He sighed deeply, nodding. "You're right. I just needed to say it out loud." A moment of clarity. The conversation shifted into something more reflective. We talked about family, responsibilities, and how difficult it can be to balance everything. David admitted he missed the days when Rachel and he used to go on long drives together, laughing and singing along to old songs. "Life just got in the way," he said. I reminded him that love doesn't fade unless we let it. Sometimes, it just gets buried under stress, bills, and the constant routine. For the first time that day, I saw David smile faintly. "You're a good person, Emily," he said. "Thank you for listening. It means more than you know." Rachel returns. When Rachel returned home, carrying shopping bags, she was glowing with excitement about the new decorations for Chloe's room. David immediately got up to help her. I watched quietly, realizing that my role here wasn't about secrets or drama, it was about being the friend who reminded them of the love they already had. Rachel hugged me again. "Thank you for staying, Emily. You're like family." I smiled, but inside, I felt a deep sense of responsibility. I had stepped into their lives during a vulnerable moment, and instead of letting it spiral into something harmful, I had chosen to guide David back toward what truly mattered, his family. The days that followed. Over the next few weeks, I noticed subtle but meaningful changes. David began spending more time with Rachel, taking her out for dinner, surprising her with flowers, and even playing board games with Chloe. Rachel looked happier, more at ease, and the Miller household seemed brighter. One evening, Rachel called me over again. "You know, Emily," she said with a warm smile, "I don't know what you said to David that day, but, thank you. We feel closer than we have in years." Tears welled in my eyes. It wasn't my place to share the details, but I knew in my heart that I had helped them rediscover what they almost lost. What I learned. Looking back, that day taught me a powerful lesson. Love isn't just about passion or grand gestures. It's about showing up, listening, and choosing each other every single day. I went to my neighbor's house expecting a casual visit, and instead, I walked away with a reminder of how fragile yet resilient relationships can be. David's choice to confide in me could have taken us down a dangerous path, but instead, it became a turning point, not just for him, but for me too. I learned that real love isn't about secrecy or temptation. It's about honesty, forgiveness, and remembering why you chose someone in the first place. Conclusion. Today, whenever I look across the street and see Rachel and David laughing together on their porch while Chloe plays in the yard, I feel grateful. Not because I was part of their story in a dramatic way, but because I helped preserve something sacred. Answer. The day I went to my neighbor's house, and her husband took me into his room, was not the beginning of a scandal, it was the beginning of healing.